EP02. Theo notices his thoughts. Theo was sitting in his apartment having a cup of coffee, looking out his kitchen window when it began to rain. Theo nestled back in his chair to enjoy the beauty of the moment when he heard a thought announce, "It's raining." Normally, this wouldn't be anything out of the ordinary. But this morning, Theo thought, how curious. Why would a thought interrupt me to tell me something I already know? That thought was followed by another thought. Why does it always have to rain when I want to do something? Theo had plans to go out for a walk. Then another thought. Good thing I bought a new umbrella. As if Theo didn't already know that as well. At this point, Theo's attention was fully captured by his thoughts. No longer in the moment experiencing the beauty of the rain. And he started to feel real scribbly. Theo noticed that in almost every moment there were scribbly thoughts coming and going in his mind, commenting on his life, making assumptions and projections about what might happen or what already had, as if Theo wasn't even there. And as Theo looked around, it seemed to be happening to everyone he knew, but no one seemed to notice it at all, including Theo, who still believed he was the stories in his mind, unable to distinguish his scribble identity from who he really was. So Theo wondered, how would he ever find his true self? Without a thought, and before another scribble could grab hold of him, Theo got up and went into the living room to turn on his TV and see what the Weather Channel had to say. It said rain would continue all day long, even though the day before it had predicted no rain at all. An annoyed thought entered Theo's head, complaining about the Weather Channel. But before he went out, Theo decided to see if his new umbrella would open. Another thought appeared. It's not going to work. This is like the 5th cheap umbrella you've bought this year. Theo opened the umbrella, and it worked just fine. Theo looked out the window. It was raining harder than before. Theo wondered, how could he stop these pestering thoughts from constantly interrupting him? And in that very moment, he noticed that there was always a gap between one thought and the next, a space that was silent and still. Wasn't that space part of Theo too? And instead of getting stressed by his pestering thoughts, what if Theo could rest in the stillness in between? What a crazy idea. Or was it? But Theo was already exhausted from all his pestering thoughts, so he went inside to take a nap. He was awoken by warm rays of sunlight streaming through the window pane onto his face. The rain had completely stopped. Theo smiled because now he could go out and take his walk. Theo's scribbly thoughts had nothing to say, but they held on anyway. As Theo walked, he found himself immersed in an uncommon peace, the peace of simply being himself, a glimpse of what was waiting in the silence beyond his thoughts on his journey of awakening. And Theo took his umbrella, just in case. In Theo's momentary glimpse while walking, his Scribble identity was nowhere to be found, but he still hadn't discovered who he is. But somewhere, hidden in the tangles of his mind, his true self was beginning to rise. Next episode, Theo watches a thought appear.